you're here today with us. I don't know who's speaking. Is it Samantha or you?
We're all going to speak, but
okay.
Sam has to time. She's going to go first.
Okay.
And Andrew and I will go.
All right. And I have your PowerPoint ready. Should I get that up for you right now? Okay, Samantha, go ahead and take it away. Just tell me when you need me to switch the slides, and I will do so.
Okay, great. I'm not seeing the slides yet.
Sorry. One second. All right, go ahead, Samantha.
Great, thank you. So as I mentioned, I'm Samantha Hill. I'm working with the City of West Hollywood on an affordable ADU pilot program. Here you can see at the bottom left-hand corner, that's the contact information. So we'll share these slides with everyone, and
everyone who's registered will get your deck if that's okay with you.
Okay, that's perfect. Okay, next slide, please. So the ADU pilot program, we do have a team. We're working with the City of West Hollywood. Brian League, is the property development manager. He's working under the property development division, and Allison Bartle, she's the project development administrator. So all questions about the program will be directed to her. Myself and Gina and Andrew, we are the consultants working with the city. Next slide, please. And so we'll just go over a quick overview of our agenda. So first off, we're going to talk about the ADU pilot program. We're going to talk about what's an ADU. We'll kind of go over that very quickly. It sounds like everybody on this call is familiar with what an ADU is, but maybe we'll just add a couple details in that individuals may not know about. We're going to talk about the loan program information, eligibility requirements, the application process, how we score it and the preferences, and as well as the program workflow. Last, we'll end with questions. Next slide, please. Sorry, next slide, please.
There we go. Oh.
Great.
Oh,
it looks like, are we running in PowerPoint? It doesn't look, it looks a little.
This happened before, Sam, when on preview, it looks fine on PowerPoint, but it's okay. We'll send it.
It's fine. It's fine. Not a big deal. So this pilot program, it's a new affordable housing initiative, and it incentivizes property owners to create an affordable rental unit on their property. And that includes both single family and multifamily properties. And so the program is offering what we're referring to as comprehensive assistance. So for financing, designing, permitting, and constructing the ADU. The property does need to be located within the City of West Hollywood, though. And so we see this as a way to expand the housing stock by providing low interest loans to assist property owners to allow them to add these dwelling units, these ADUs, to their property. Next slide, please.
Sam, I just want to mention something real quick too. One of the biggest things about that is they also offer the consulting services. So this is paid for by the City of West Hollywood. It's part of the program, and it's basically holds the homeowner's hand throughout this process, and that's what makes it successful.
I think that was something that people don't understand. It's not just a loan, right? There's more to it that you're able to do to help them with the process.
Absolutely, we're there, the three of us as consultants every step of the way. So sorry,
cool.
No, great, thank you. So what's an ADU? An ADU is an accessory dwelling unit. It's self-contained residential unit, and it shares the same lot as the primary dwelling unit. An ADU must include a living, sleeping area and a bathroom, and a kitchen. Now, there are something referred to as junior ADUs, and those are connected to a main house, and those are not required to have a bathroom. So they can share with the main house, just to keep that in mind. Now, there's no.
They are part.
Yeah, they can apply for the program as well.
Junior ADUs.
Yes, junior ADUs are part of the program also. And then newly constructed ADUs, so that's if a new structure or addition is added to the lot. And then there's converted where you take, it could be a garage, a pool house, a studio, any permitted structure and that is currently permitted, and we can convert that into an ADU itself. And as I mentioned earlier, it can be single family, multifamily, and multifamilies for this purpose are considered duplex properties. So anything with 2 or more units under California ADU state law are considered multifamily.
And that's important for West Hollywood because they consider only 3 or more, as you know, as multifamily here in West Hollywood. But for the purposes of this program, because of the state law, it's multifamily is the duplex or more.
Whoever just spoke, we can't hear you. You're speaking so quickly that online is getting muddy.
Okay, okay, I'll see.
We're gonna get a little closer to the mic.
Okay, and I'll hand it over to my colleague, Andrew.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having us there. I'm glad Gina's there in person for all the questions you have. The information on the loan program itself. So the loan is a maximum of $150,000. The loan term is a 3-year loan term with 1% simple interest, much lower than any other loan that's being offered right now. It offers 3 years of deferred payments, which includes principal and interest with 1 year of extensions. There is an issue if you don't finance it, then you'll have to pay a conversion fee. But it's a 30-year conventional loan with compounding interest of 1%. The stipulation is that you must rent it to a Section 8 tenant for 7 years. So like I believe Gina said, there's a bigger purpose than this, right? So yes, these funds are very cheap, but also there's a purpose driven behind this in order to create affordable housing via the route of ADUs. Typically affordable housing is 55 years. No, it doesn't have to be the same tenant. It can be any tenant, but you must rent it to a Section 8 tenant for the 7 years. There will be a notice recorded on the property. And if you do not rent for a tenant, then there is a penalty of $25,000. So it's really a way to create affordable housing throughout West Hollywood and to keep it that way, at least for the 7 years. But we intend to make sure that it goes longer. And West Hollywood has a track record of making sure anyone who was a low income tenant to get housing even after this expires. Next slide.
And then regarding with Section 8, that's when they're rented, they're market rents when they come on at first, right? Or is there any stipulation with?
It has to be a Section 8 tenant, although
Yeah.
Section 8 tenant, right now, the vouchers are pretty high. They're not much lower than market, but no, for that duration of the 7 years, the Section 8 tenant must stay there. There should be only no more than a 90-day gap in between tenants.
I think he's asking though, what is the rate of a Section 8 tenant? Like how much would they pay actually?
Oh, he can.
No, what I'm saying is that for an owner,
Yeah.
when you're advertising into Section 8 tenants, when you set that rent,
Yeah.
how do they set that rent? Is it just what market rate is for that, and then they're able to bring in Section 8 tenants, or it needs to be?
Section 8, it's a listed rate, so they have to
Okay.
only charge that amount and it'll be to Section 8 voucher holder, and so it would be whatever that Section 8 is for that year, whatever that rent is.
Okay.
It's different per bedroom count.
And per area?
Yeah, per area.
Is there area?
Is this, sorry, it's based on bedroom and square footage, or just bedroom?
Bedrooms, and then, and like a local AMI as well.
Okay.
I actually think Gina, it's actually not based on bedrooms. I believe it's based on the amount of persons in the household.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure. And for those that didn't hear what Gina was saying, it's based on how many people will be living there and then the area. So there's a calculation based on what the area is, on what the rent is. So the same rent in West Hollywood would not be the same rent you get in Joshua Tree or in Riverside or Northern California. It's really based on the area, but West Hollywood's rate is very close to market rent because it's such a high income area that these two get very close to each other. So on the next slide, the eligibility requirement. If it is a single family property that's applying, they must have been owner occupied for 1 year. If it's multifamily, obviously most multifamily buildings are not owner occupied, so that is out the window. And that you must rent it to a Section 8 voucher holder for a minimum of 7 years. Continuous years, but it doesn't have to be the same tenant. If someone moves out or you have a new person, you just have to bring someone else in. The application process, we have a website set up for it, weho.org, ADU pilot. The window opens August 1st, 2020. And then we have about, 2 months, 30 days. And during that time, we'll take in all the applications. It's not very strenuous. It just helps provide some information for our scoring. Then we rank up all the applications that come in based on the scoring material that's in our handbook, which is also on the website. And then after 20 days, the selected applicants will start bringing in the information to create the loan documents and to start dispersing this money. They will have us, Samantha, myself, and Gina as consultants. I mean, Gina and I have done hundreds of ADUs. Samantha has done everything. So having us as a team is typically something you wouldn't be able to afford or have access to. So these homeowners get us in their pocket to sometimes day and night text us, ask us what we're doing. And they get to be micro developers with some industry leaders at no cost to them. The city is paying for us.
How many loans, I guess, are you giving out? How many
Two,
are-
for this one will just be two.
Okay.
According to two homeowners. Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's a pilot program, so we're going to prove how great this is and
Yes.
do 2 this year and 200 next year.
Yeah.
Yes.
Maybe 2,000. Who knows? Maybe everybody gets an ADU. But
Yeah.
you know, the whole point is to show that this works and show that it creates affordable housing, and then expand from there.
And hopefully it'll become a pilot program for LA.
Yeah,
Right?
well, so we're
Keep it
doing
going.
Pasadena, as they already mentioned too. I think the county's been speaking with us, as well, so yeah,
Yeah.
hopefully there's gonna be a lot of other cities adopting these types of programs.
And it's definitely something that's clear when we talk to city council members and state legislators that, yeah, it's great that we have all these laws for ADUs making it easier, but it's still so unaffordable for people to do and to build, but they're not doing it. That there has to be other mechanisms to help people to be able to do something like this. So this is a perfect example of a program that could be expanded to be something that's really powerful. So yeah, this is very exciting that this is happening right now. Let's
I'd
do it.
like to add to that. Typically, affordable housing and major projects are all centered in one. With this program, it's mixed income in different areas. So people that are low income get spread with people that have different mixes of income. And as me personally, I don't think we should have concentrations of certain people in one area. I think it should be spread out everywhere, and we all rise together as a collective. And that's really what this program is. It's not a center of certain people in certain places, but spread out throughout the city, spread throughout. And that's really what this program does. It's not putting everyone in one area based on what your income is or what your life circumstances, but to spread it throughout the city.
Yeah, and also, Andrew, I know off the top of your head, you know, kind of like the range for what affordable housing for units coming out to be right now and new construction. It's something ridiculous. It's like well over 400 something thousand, but almost 500,000.
Oh, yeah. So the
Yeah.
range,
To build an affordable unit.
the
versus
range goes from
100,000.
400,000 to 750,000 to create an
That's a
affordable
great point.
housing unit.
The average is about 600, and I think it's 620,000. It's very, very high for an affordable. And it's a lot longer time frame because usually you're doing multiple units. So we're talking about, you know, at least a 4-year process to do affordable multifamily.
Are there approved contractors and builders? Does the city have a list of people that they would prefer, or is it up to each?
That's a great question. We're actually gonna put the city's gonna put an RFQ out to encourage local GCs to apply and kind of get on board so that when we are ranking and doing the analysis of the applications, they can kind of provide a estimated bid of, you know, what we could build for 150,000. So I don't think we're not putting that out for architects or designers, but we encourage anybody, if you know any great architects, designers, please send them our way. We'd love for them to be part of this program.
Cool.
Andrew, did you finish the last one? Should I go on to scoring?
Yeah.
Last
So the scoring is based on a couple different priorities that we have in here. So the first priority is the ADU equipped for senior or disabled access, which is, you know, important so that it's able for anyone to live in there. The size, a maximum of 500 square feet. The reason why we have that is because of the constraints of the loan. So that way we fit it in there, but 500 square feet still is a great unit. Then next is utility access and the income of the borrower. But these the scoring are just ideas, and you get extra points. You don't have to hit all these, otherwise you're disqualified. So these different priorities are how we're going to base the scoring. At the very end, if there's 2 or 3 people that are at the same, we'll do a lottery for the tiebreaker, and that's how we'll be choosing who gets these loans.
Yeah, and just so the utility access of 25 feet or less, they probably won't know. They can mark unknown on there. We can figure it out. That's some of the reasons we're having contractors that will help with this, with the process. And the income under 158,000, if you guys don't know about the Cal HFA program, you should, because they're reimbursing up to $40,000 for the soft cost, pre-development costs for anybody building an ADU that makes in Los Angeles under $158,000. In the term, the loan package and in the information package that is online, it tells you what qualifies as income. So take a look at that for that $158,000. And then also that third priority of the homeowner occupancy, obviously that doesn't apply if it's multifamily, duplex or more. This and all the SCAD maps we reference are in the application. So we won't explore that right now, but you can log onto the website for that. So the program workflow, so we just kind of, we know how things take longer than expected, right? So because it is a city program, sometimes it might run a little bit slower to, once we get going, to issue contracts and get checks. So this is kind of a more realistic than, if we were doing privately building an ADU. So for the first 2 months, we have the application window that's open, and then the next 3 months will be kind of underwriting and pre-design. So the city will be going through the applications as well as we will, and we will be looking at if they're qualified. Then we'll talking about the stage 2 will be pre-design work, and then the city approval. So once the city approves, they issue the letter, and then the fun begins, right? So the 2 applicants that score the highest, we'll start working with them to select their design team, and that design team will comprise of an architect, a structural engineer, it's not prescriptive plans, Title 24. Actually here in West Hollywood, they'll probably have to get a liquefaction report, and oftentimes, especially if it's a multifamily, and then sometimes, and because property lines up against each other, a survey might be required too. So all that will be covered in this cost. A soils report, anything needed before we do the design. So we'll work as a team. The designer will provide a floor plan they can sign off on. Then we'll start getting the plan set together. We'll submit that. We'll go through the process of corrections. And once we get our permit approval, our B permit, we'll already have kind of the GC in mind. So usually, around second round of corrections, you start bidding the project out so you can know the true cost. So we'll have those, pre-qualified GCs, and then also, as long as the GC is willing to work in the confines of the requirements for West Hollywood, they can choose who they want to work with. So we'll, as a team, we usually will be there before they sign the contract to make sure they didn't miss anything, that it's all included in their bid. We'll go through the plans together, because homeowners, that's not speaking, they don't speak the same language, right, as we do. So we'll go through that with them. And then once we start construction and we kick off, we'll be constantly getting the invoices in, making the payments to the construction GC. And then we'll be monitoring, we'll be looking at progress reports. We'll be reporting to the city of West Hollywood on that progress. And then once it's done, we'll be getting a CO. And that's when they'll be selecting their Section 8 tenant that's going to move in. So we wanted to give a kind of a buffer period for this, just in case, as we said, cities go a little slower than normal. So for, typical Q&A, how much will the ADU cost? Well, we're going to make sure that all in it's under 150,000. You don't want anyone to be out of pocket for any expenses on this. So we'll look at value engineering opportunities if we need to keep it under that. How long will it take to build the ADU? We have that on the other slide. It really could range. If it is just a conversion, it might be faster than new construction. Do we have to accept the tenant? The property development division chooses residents. So this is where it be Section 8 tenant of your choosing. So you can go through the process of that selection, but they just will be monitoring that, and we'll keep that tenant in place as long as possible. the 7 years, or if not, you select a new tenant. And then the loan, what if the loan amount is not enough to cover the cost of the ADU? Well, we do have somebody in Pasadena, City of Pasadena, who was gonna do this anyways, wanted to do it because he wanted to give back to the community. Said anything out of pocket, I want it built a certain way, I'll put my funds in, but we're trying not to do that. And we're actually gotten under budget. So we're really just trying, we want it all in, that number to be under 150, and we'll work with the homeowners and the different consultants to make sure that happens. What happens if I sell my property? So you will be, the new owner will be taking on that burden and responsibility of that 7-year commitment. And after that, we would hope that they keep a low income tenant in there, but that's not a requirement, but that's what we are hoping for. And what will the ADU consultant do? Basically, like we said, we're kind of just holding hands every step of the way and kind of just acting as their advisor and helping them make decisions. And it's just like giving them information about how to stay within budget, how to select their design team and their GC, and how to communicate with them. And anything they don't know about raised foundations or something like that, a broken slab, we are there to help them answer and kind of talk in layman's terms what that might mean and what that cost implication might be. Sorry.
Yeah, somebody online had that exact question, so thank you for answering.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
And next, I think that is perhaps next slide is actually just should be the information for the program. And also it has, this is just a generic email that goes to all of us, so any of us can answer at any time. But again, Allison is the contact for the city. We're here to answer any questions. Our information will be along with the deck, but by September 30th. So we're encouraging everyone to get their applications in as soon as possible, because if they'll fill something out, yeah, then we can help them with that. So we can say, hey, it's not complete, you know, we still have a couple weeks, we'll get this information, we'll help you get this information.
And if you're an agent, this is a great opportunity to reach out to your database of people in your neighborhood and let them know about this program. So amazing presentation, amazing program. I mean, if you need any help ever speaking at city council or anything in the future to put in a good word, let me know. I'm happy to do that. I'm there all the time. So,
awesome, thank you. Yeah, thank you for having us. We're really excited. We're really getting in front of the right audience when, you know, you guys invited when we reach out to